Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Crooke and Candle podcast. I'm Ozzy Anteas. I'm Trajan Anteas.
I'm Ozzy Anteas.
Still waking up.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of a different episode today. Tried something a little different.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that in a second. But first off, you can find us on all social media platforms, and anywhere you get podcasts, you can listen to us there. We also have the video podcast version of this on YouTube under Crooke and Candle. But with that, how was your week?
It was fine. Yeah, it was fine. Pretty regular, all things considered. Getting pretty busy at my work and all that, so that's a little stressful. But aside from that, things are fine. Also, you did some work on me.
Yes. Which we're going to get into.
Yes.
We did have something interesting happen.
Yeah, actually, so yesterday...
Well, actually, let me just preface this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I tattooed one of my clients, a month ago or so, and really got along with him. This guy named August Broussard. And, you know, I really enjoy when I'm tattooing people. Well, first of all, the thing I really love to do when I'm tattooing is design bigger tattoos and custom stuff. I really love that. But when I'm doing smaller works, you know, although it's not as exciting, a lot of times the conversations that come out of, you know, sitting with someone and tattooing them and talking are incredible. And we had a really great talk our first time together. And then he came in a couple of days ago, and we were talking and tattooing. And I asked him, like, what have you been up to lately? How's everything? He's like, oh, I'm good. Been working on this film and this script and, doing storyboards. I'm like, wait a minute, you do film? And yeah, so we talked some about that. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I got a film production company with my son, Ozzy. And from there, we ended up talking on many subjects. But at the end of the tattoo, first of all, it was a tattoo that should have taken an hour. And, 3 hours later, we're finished. And it was just because we were having so much fun talking.
Yeah.
And talking about art. I talked about the podcast, and he's a young guy. So, talking to me, like, I have a ton of experience in kind of the art world. And it was just really good. And at the end, I was like, I'd really like to, talk more about your idea. And then the next day, and actually one of the things I had talked to him about was, being strategic as a creative person. Kind of if you see that there might be a possibility there, try and make some little moves to make it happen. And so from there, the next morning, I look on my, because I followed him on Instagram. He followed me back. And the next day there was a story, and it was like, hey, does anyone know how to meet up or with a production company to help me with my film? And right away I was like, that was for me. Yeah. That was really for me. He's being strategic. And so I reached out and I was like, hey, I talked to Ozzy about it, and we're very interested. And then, so I set up for yesterday for him to come over. And I actually want to ask you, because we did, and we're going to talk about this in a future episode. We did initially, when we bought our cameras and our equipment and stuff, we got tapped for a project for someone in Portland, and it turned into a total fiasco.
Yeah, it was a shit show.
And then it was almost like the person whose project it was wanted to blame us somehow, or so it was horrible, And so yesterday, August showed up. Were you impressed?
Yeah, I was way more impressed with just them immediately. Well, first off, I want to say when he came through the door, and I just introduced myself and all that, and we started talking. Like, immediately, the rapport I felt was very comfortable. Like, it was easy talking to him. And that's usually a good sign when you're able to talk to somebody very easily and it doesn't feel awkward at all. There's no tension necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just you're talking to them and it's natural. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then he had this binder like filled with like, you know, like
Little
tabs and markers and shit. And then he opens it up. He's like, oh, I got this outline and the script.
And he made copies.
He gave both of us a copy. Kali, take your ball. Okay, fuck off. I'm just handing her the ball, and she's just standing there. It's like whatever. But yeah, so and immediately like I took a look at the outline, but then I went to the screenplay that he had. And I was looking through it. I'm like, this is an actual screenplay, and that was the first thing I said. I'm like, first of all, August, I want to say immediately, I'm immediately impressed, just because it seems like you're taking this very seriously, just based on looking at the screenplay and looking like a real screenplay. Because I'm not even going to get into the full story of the other project. That's going to be a future episode, maybe the next one we do.
Yeah.
Because I've been talking to you about doing that. But yeah, that whole series, that situation was so much worse. And just immediately talking to August, it's like, okay, it seems like this is a real project and this guy is serious about it. And that makes me happy. And just kind of listening to him kind of talk about his idea for the short film and what he wants to do. And, you know, kind of the impact he's looking to get out of the audience and stuff like that. And how he wants to make the audience feel. I'm like, okay, that's actually, I like where his head's at with the project. It seems something down my alley. Like it'd be cool to just be involved in a project that, even though we may not, because it's going to be basically on no budget, except for the fact that we're using this shit,
Our gear.
you know, our gear, because that's kind of why he talked to us.
Yeah. To make his project as professional as possible.
Yeah, exactly. So there's not really going to be money involved, but
it's a passion project.
yeah, it's a passion project. And to me, it's like, I think the reason why I had a good time, like just talking to him and you talking to him, was that like every artist and creative person, like in fact, he talked about it. He was like, you know, every creative has this barrier where it's like they have this idea, but of course it's hamstrung by the fact that money has to be involved to get things done.
Right.
And that can be, especially when it comes to film, like that's a huge barrier.
Oh, sure.
You know, in fact, that's the thing. It's like just the camera we're using to record this podcast. Like we're kind of privileged in the fact that we were able to afford any of this.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it took it was a kind of a gamble to like ask for a loan, you know, angel investment, so to speak, and to be able to get that. So that's cool. And you know, to have a project to be able to do, especially after 2 years of not being able to do anything because everything was locked down.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, you know, it's cool to be able to do something. So I'm excited to see where that project or how that turns out. I'm actually excited to meet the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I'm very excited myself too. You know, our production business was more of a, you know, he asked me about it. I'm like, well, it's really slanted more towards business to business. Like, I want to help produce content and video for other businesses that want to help tell their story.
Yeah.
Because social media and people pay attention to that stuff so much now. And digital marketing is kind of where it's at. So, but I want to do things that are just creative.
Yeah.
I'm a big storyteller. I love telling stories. That's why this podcast and, you know, getting interviews with people, I want to hear the stories.
Yeah.
You know, so helping to do this is something that's really exciting. And yeah, it was kind of because today is Sunday.
Yes.
So, you know, it was kind of like the end of the week, little cherry on top, you know. And I've read the script once. I'm going to give it another read. I'm already making little liner notes and stuff for things I think as far as how we're going to shoot it. But it was really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. And to be quite honest, I could see August being one of our guests
Yeah.
talk about his up. You know, he is young man.
How old is he?
I don't know.
Seems early 20s.
Yeah, I'd say he was in his early 20s, mid 20s maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to talk to him because again, it's a guy. It's someone who's early in their career, has a real passion for it, and it shows in all the preparation that he did for his project. You know, he's actually doing storyboarding with people too. So
Yeah.
you know, very exciting. But with that, yesterday, you know, we were kind of after our last episode 15 with Dino Sommese. We kind of talked about what to do, and we've been getting so many comments.
Yeah, the response to that video, the podcast,
It's incredible.
was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, just going through all the comments. There were so many of them, and it was very humbling to see all the comments thanking us for making that happen. And you know, I had no idea how well it was going to do. Like, I thought I was going to probably get like a few hundred views. That was just me being conservative about the estimate, just because I've been so used to there have been videos I've made that were passion projects where I'm like, oh, this is so good, it's going to get thousands of views, and it doesn't get that at all.
It's 11.
Yeah, it's like 11, 11 views. So it's like, I think very low, you know?
Yeah.
So to see that video do good, it's like, okay.
Yeah,
that's
we're
awesome.
up around 2,000, and it just keeps going up. So
Yeah.
that-
And so I decided to decided to go through the comments and find some of the best ones. And actually one of the ideas for that interview was originally to get Dino tattooed by you. Mm-hmm. And while you were interviewing, but that didn't happen. So we thought, like, kind of like as a follow up to that video, and to kind of do something that we didn't get to do for that video. Instead,
tattoo this guy.
Yeah, have him fill in my tattoo and do some more work on me, because I haven't been tattooed
For a while. Yeah.
So, and I know if this has had to have been, we needed to finish this up. So.
And if you're watching YouTube right now, you're actually
You're
he's
actually
showing off
seeing-
his tattoo.
You're actually seeing the tattoo. In fact, if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, the next section you're going to see is, you'll probably get more a kick out of it if you're watching it, but if you're not, it's still, you could still listen to it, and
Yeah.
it's fine. Also, as a warning, the next session you're going to hear a difference in the audio quality, because it's going to be
It's in a large studio
It's
where I tattoo at, and it's kind of got a little echo.
and
You know.
because he was using the shotgun mic instead of these ones.
Yeah.
So so you're gonna hear a little bit of a difference in the audio quality, but you can still hear us just fine.
Yeah.
So
And with that, we're going to show the video of us, you know, thanking people and giving shout outs for comments in regards to our last podcast. And you can watch me hurt this guy a little bit. Here we go. Check it out.
All right, and here we are. We're here at Northwest Creations, getting tattooed by my dad, who's behind the camera, Trajan. And we're just working on this bad boy right here. Got a lot of shading filled in and whatnot, but still got a little bit more to do. But yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit more.
Hey, guys. Crooke and Candle here again, changing it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually, because I want to say when you interviewed Dino out in Oakland, the plan was, I think we said it on the podcast, you were supposed to tattoo him while interviewing him.
Yeah.
But you didn't get the chance to.
No.
So in a way, to kind of make up for that, thought we kind of would do this while doing this follow-up episode. He's already got a good amount of it done already, because we actually, when we came in, there was people already here. There was a kid running around. Obviously, probably not a good idea to do this while a kid's running around. So now everyone's pretty much out. But yeah, I thought we should go through some comments, because that's the thing. We're almost at 2K views.
Yeah, our last
on that video.
episode, that was episode 15.
That was 15. The episode, well, all the episodes before that one, we didn't really have an audience. Like, we had one person that would watch every time an episode came out on YouTube and would comment. Top Cat, you know who you are, would always comment, and I appreciated it. But we were trying our best to try to find that audience, and so when we did the interview with Dino, because I wasn't sure how many people were going to watch it. I was thinking like maybe 1,000 people or maybe a few hundred, but to see that it's almost like at 2K views and we're still getting.
Yeah, it blew up.
Yeah, really. It blew up a lot bigger than I thought it would, and we got a good amount of follows on our Instagram. Hell, when I did that promo picture of Dino smiling on Instagram and just tagged it, like there's all these people that showed this interest. Like, holy shit, you're gonna do that? Where's the link? It's like, oh, it's links in bio. Mm-hmm. And next thing I know, the video comes out, and it's just I'm at work and seeing all these comments come in and all these views and likes and all that stuff, and it was just really humbling to see all those people like subscribe and follow the Instagram page and all that shit. So as a thank you to you guys, wanted to kind of go through some of the best comments. I feel we're not going to be able to get to all of them, obviously. If it was up to me, I would just go through every single comment, but I thought the next best thing would be to go over some of the best comments we got and just kind of respond to them.
Hold on. Yeah, actually, I was gonna say like I'm super excited the way everything took off as well.
Yeah.
We did, our first handful of episodes. Mm-hmm. We were just kind of finding our legs. And we had many conversations about, our audience and what we're trying to do. And the original kind of tagline for Crooke and Candle was
real conversations about art.
Yeah, real conversations with real artists. Yeah. And at the beginning of the year, we did an episode that was New You. What was it called?
New Year, New You.
New Year, New You. And we'd actually discussed what we needed to do, and one of the big things was have guests.
Yeah.
And so Dino Sommese was our first guest, and I was so humbled and excited that I got to do that, and how that was definitely a step in the right direction. Before we get to the comments, I actually talked to a couple of people already. Have a person up here that I've known for many years. And she's been up here for a long time, 10 years at least. And I'd never reconnected with her, Missy Barons. And so hopefully we're going to be interviewing her. And then I'm going to be actually traveling down to the Bay Area with this guy.
Yeah.
Hopefully by May at the very latest. Hopefully it'll be in April around my birthday. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, that'd be killer.
And I would love to, get a couple of interviews while I'm down there. One of which I still got to talk to him, but we got a lot of interest from people from the Dino Sommese interview, wanting to get more information on another side of the story, and another great and talented person would be to actually interview Matt from Dystopia as well, and hopefully we'll make that happen too.
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because one of the comments we got from Beckett Fountain was, we need an interview with Mouse ASAP.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Beckett. Yes, that's kind of the plan, is to find, because in a way it's like the cool thing about doing that Dino interview, like, because I said it to you, that's going to be like our quote unquote clout episode, to kind of show people that we're serious about this, and that we we have access to certain people to talk to, and so yeah, and if there's demand for it, which obviously there is, because the Dino interview did so well, and the fact that there are people that are like, yo, like, you should do this. Yeah, sure, absolutely. We're gonna try and interview as many people, especially within the Dystopia, Asunder,
the Oakland crowd. I was there for 15 years.
Yeah. The only reason that Dino interview happened was literally because he is best friends with Dino. If that who knows if that would have happened if he didn't know him. But yeah, it's surprising what you can do when you actually know people. So
Yeah. And we definitely want to do more of it just because of the fact that that interview wasn't about Dystopia per se.
yeah, it was about the person.
It was about the person.
It was about Dino. In fact, a lot of comments that we've gotten was like we're very appreciative of because apparently there was a good amount of interviews. Because I've looked through like interviews, and yeah, a lot of the interviews seemed very surface level. Like it was about the band and like
you didn't get to know about the people,
but you didn't get to really know much about the people necessarily. And the thing I think that really spoke to people about the video we did was, or the podcast we did, was that we got to kind of show you guys who Dino is and his thought process, and how. In fact, I'm gonna look through some comments. Yeah, from Maddox. From Maddox Sane. Absolutely love this. There's barely any interviews for these guys. I could only find the one with Todd and another one with all three of them. Hilarious stuff. They talked about a show in TJ making fun of Todd talking to this death metal Mexican girl, saying how she couldn't understand him. Haha. So, but yeah, it's like there's a good amount of comments that kind of touch on the fact that you didn't really get to know him that well. But yeah, eventually we would like to, get to interview more people that Dino has worked with. In fact, one of the people that actually commented, not necessarily on the video, but on the Instagram was Chio. So,
Chio!
Yeah, Chio. Yeah, she actually, so shout out to Chio. Great interview, and I haven't seen you since you were little at Gilman. I think she's met me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I remember meeting Dino back when I was a kid, and seeing him play with Dystopia. Was it Dystopia or
Dystopia? Yeah.
Okay. Did I see them play with Noothgrush?
Noothgrush might have been on a bill with them. Totally.
Okay.
Totally.
So was Dino not in Noothgrush at the time?
No.
Okay. So he took. Did he take over as the frontman later on?
Yeah, they had taken a long hiatus, the band Noothgrush, and yeah, actually, I'd love to interview Chio.
Yeah,
because
she'd be a great one.
I know Dino joined the group and Gary was the bass player. He would sing as well, and I don't know if he was just tired of it or what the deal was, but eventually they got Dino to scream the lyrics. Yeah, so I'd love to find out more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're going to read another comment. All I wanted to hear, this is from Mikal A. And that sounds like a European name. Mikal, Mikal. I guess that's European, I guess. I don't know where that would be from, but all I wanted to hear about was the dichotomy and harmony of how they all work together. The art and collages were my favorite parts of Dystopia, so sick. Yeah, didn't like Mouse
did all the putting the collages together, and yeah, super cool. I mean, it definitely reminded me, and their whole ethic, the DIY ethic. Dino talked about the band Crass, and Crass, they did a lot of the same thing, a lot of collages and different types of artwork. So yeah, Matt was doing, or Mouse was doing, artwork for the band, and that was in a similar vein, as Crass, because that was a big inspiration for them all, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we got another comment just mentioning how insightful of an interview it was. Killbot and Gorgor Attack. I like that name. This was an insightful interview and refreshing to hear this kind of honesty. Dystopia meant a lot to me for years, and I still throw them on a bit. Made me want to be a better drummer, which that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
In fact, like one of the things I think that was surprising, if anything, about I say surprising, but I guess it's not. It's just I guess it's more surprising seeing how many people came out and said things like that to that effect.
Yeah.
That even to this day, people still like have this reverence for not only Dino but like Dystopia as a band, and how it influenced them, and that that's a really cool thing to see, and it's cool that we were able to scratch an itch that people kind of wanted to have scratched.
So what was the comment from the 18-year-old?
Oh yeah, I actually have it. Let me look through that, because there's Johnny Alfaro. I've been listening to Dystopia since I was 15, 18 now, and their songs and Dino's lyrics especially got me through a lot of shit in my life. I'd love to meet the dude, and and thank him for all he's done. Yeah, so he's 18.
Yeah, that's a new listener.
Much newer. And here's the thing, I could kind of relate, because a good amount of the music I have gotten turned on to in the more recent years, was when I was much older, and I wasn't born then when they came out. So I listened to like a lot of 80s kind of metal, and even like Black Sabbath and shit like that from the 70s with Ozzy, which is where I got my new name. And and it's like, yeah, a lot of the shit that I find influence in is stuff that I wasn't even around for necessarily. So it's kind of cool to see a band like Dystopia that which was around in the 90s,
to 2000s,
or
early 2000s,
and to see that there are people who are young actually finding influence and I guess support. I guess I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but like the fact that 18-year-old kid, what was it, Johnny, got him through a lot of shit. Like that's fucking dope.
Music is the great healer, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually, when I was in high school myself, many moons ago, there was bands that when you're younger, kids tend to be cliquey.
Yeah.
They don't listen. They don't all listen to the same music, and so there was music that I didn't listen to. I'd heard of the bands like Sam Hain, the Misfits, Susie and the Banshees. I didn't listen to. These are bands I knew of, but I didn't really listen to them. And Iron Maiden. I hated Iron Maiden just because there was this kid that had the red hair and the spiky mullet, and he was like a Beavis kind of character, or Butthead. I'm not sure which one it was.
Yeah.
But
speaking of Beavis and Butthead, there was actually I don't know if they did an episode about Iron Maiden, but I know there was this episode they did on the kid who was wearing a Winger t-shirt.
Yeah.
And like he would get made fun of like constantly for liking Winger. Which, by the way, Winger is a good band. I think it was really good. But yeah, it's like fucking like there was just this point too where certain kind of music just kind of became massively uncool the more popular it became. And
there's a lot of uncool music. Yeah. That's the whole point. I like The Cure. I hated The Cure. I hate Duran Duran. Actually, Duran Duran, I secretly liked them, but it was like junior high school, and any band, especially fronted by a guy band,
right,
where all the girls were swooning.
Yeah,
I just hated them.
Right, that was kind of the thing where it's like if you were a guy and you admitted that you liked Duran Duran, you were fucking gay or some shit, and you'd be made fun of super mercilessly.
And now, especially you go and you hang out. I hang out with older people that are my age and my friends. The music we put on, we don't listen to just punk or anything. We listen to music that's good, and definitely music that brings us back to our youth. There's a lot of nostalgia in these songs, so don't sleep on music. You got to be open to a lot of things.
And that's the thing too. Like eventually, I especially the older I get, I think as you get older, your tastes just expand.
Yeah, it's like your palate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your palate changes over time. Like I used to hate broccoli. Now I like broccoli. I used to hate spinach, especially when it came in a can.
Oh, gross.
That shit's disgusting. That's still disgusting. But like if you make spinach right, or you just take the raw spinach and put it in a sandwich or something like that, it tastes fucking good. So there's nothing wrong with spinach. But as
it would make you barf.
Yeah.
When you were a kid.
Yeah, I hated that shit. Like And I know, like, what was it, Popeye? Like, that was the whole, his superpower, like,
Yeah, spinach.
eat a can of spinach to get the really big buff arms to beat up Bluto or some shit. Yeah, so, but, yeah, let's get back to some, oh yeah, there's this one, comment that kind of, speaks on, like, how Dystopia and Dino got him through some tough shit. From Lycanthropy.
Lycanthropy.
No, it's spelled Lichen, like Lich. Lycanthropy. I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. I'm not sure if you're gonna see this, but I think it's Lycanthropy. So I apologize if I got that wrong. Dude looks like a crazy native elder and shit, and sharing crazy native elder wisdom. But for real, Dystopia got me through a lot of dumb shit. And whenever I play a Dystopia song, I gotta hear more before changing it. Would have been sick to hear about the Asunder days, but whatever. Still 10 out of 10 and would recommend. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I could definitely probably sit him down and talk about Asunder as well.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that would be a cool like follow-up podcast to do with him. Like,
yeah.
If he ever chose to do it. It's
because literally Dystopia broke up and then there was a little space between, you know, Dino doing another project, and that was Asunder, which by that time everyone in the scene was kind of checking out, you know, doom music, and Asunder was just another incredible band that he was in, and so many people really, again, like that music as well.
Yeah. So got another comment from Crack.Dweller. Like, that's pretty funny. Dystopia helps going through the days, hearing stuff you deal with every day. Hearing it in music form is really sick, being able to know you're not alone. Love this, thanks. And yeah, actually, I think that's a cool little point to hit the nail on, because I feel some of the music I especially have listened to over the years is music that is touched on like real shit that is very interesting, but also do it in a way that's like, because there's so many people nowadays that are trying to focus on the message and shit, but they fuck this up where they'll try to make the message the main point of their art to the detriment of the art itself. And because you know, you look at movies, look at comics, look at you know, cartoons, like there's so many like of those things, pieces of media that try hard so much to hit home a message, but a lot of the times I find the message is either really not well thought out and fucking stupid when you really start to think about it, or B, or both, or just the art itself sucks and can't hold the message up for shit.
Well, that was one of the comments that Dino made that was so poignant, where he said, you know, everyone wants to change the world, but how do you do that if you don't even know who you are?
Right, exactly.
And that's so true.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, especially in today's day and age, you got like Twitter, and you got like Twitter warriors, as they call them, where it's like there's so many people that are like, we need to change this and change that, but it's like a lot of these motherfuckers on Twitter, like, they probably fucking live in a shit-sty house and don't have their shit together. So it's like, how are you gonna fix the world, motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like, you ain't gonna fix shit. You can't even balance a checkbook and you want to fix the world? Fuck off. You know? So yeah, I do agree with the notion that, you know, you need to figure yourself out before you fix anything. And it's super important to do so as you grow up. And then we got another comment from No Passaran, I think that's how you say that. I've never had a band mean as much to me as Dystopia. They've been my favorite band for over a decade. I've never got sick of them. When I do, it's time to hang it up. I'm not sure what he means by the end there, like time to hang it up. Like if he means just, like, I don't know, just the listening to the band, I guess. I don't know, but
Well, it means he's an old fogey.
probably, I guess.
Actually, and Dino, if you listen to this episode, I want to share something. Yeah, the whole thing made me really nostalgic, and I ended up watching a bunch of videos of shows that they played on tour, and especially videos when they were playing at Gilman, and I think I sent it to you. It was like a couple days ago, and I played this. It was Dystopia. Playing Gilman in 2002.
I'll probably put a clip in here.
Yeah, and there was actually two songs. One was Population Birth Control, where he does the breakdown.
Yeah.
People don't die off. We fucking multiply! And the whole place is screaming the lyrics. And then their last song of that night was Hands That Mold. And I listened to it, and I got a little misty. I shedded some tears just for the time of my life that was in, the incredible feeling of community being at those shows. So many of the people that were into that music had kind of hard lives, me included. Mm-hmm. So, you know, hearing the music and being able to see it again, it really, really touched me.
Sure.
I wish they would get back together, even if it was for 4 shows. But, you know, who knows?
Yeah,
It's in the God's hands.
Yeah, it's in the hands of the universe, if you want to put it that way.
Exactly.
So it's up to him. It's up to actually all of them. Like if they want to ever do that. But yeah, that would be really cool if they got together. I know the people that are commenting on our episode 15, like they would probably want to see that too.
Oh yeah.
In fact, comment down below if you'd like to see Dino and Dystopia get back together.
Yeah, if you want to see Dystopia, leave us a comment.
Yeah, we'll make sure to send all those comments to Dino directly.
Yeah, and bug them.
Yeah, bug him about it. Got another comment from Arisen MA or Arisen Ma. I'm not sure how to say that, but imagine Dino banging an ice cream container drum set as a kid. Put the biggest smile on my face. Enjoyed every minute of the show plus interview. Thank you so much for enjoying it. That I'm glad we gave you something you wanted to see. But yeah, like that part of the interview I actually really liked. But I think the reason why people liked that part of it, especially, it's like because a lot of people. I think I told you this too, because we were talking about it. It's like a lot of people, they kind of think like when they see, whether it's a band or someone who's super successful, well, however you want to define success, you only see the end product and you think that they just got that way overnight. And it's like, no, it's not the case at all. And usually it takes many, many years of dedication of doing what you want to do in order to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And that fact that Dino, his dad was like, I'm not gonna get you drum lessons, you know, that's not real music, or whatever he said, and he just decided to take Dreyer's ice cream drums and canisters and pots and pans and made a makeshift drum set.
I remember that. I actually remember that. I remember his wicker basket. His wicker basket, I think, was his snare. Because it made it didn't make a dum sound. It made more
that's actually very clever.
Yeah.
Very clever. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, if you're really, that's the thing too. It's like, because one of the things I think we've talked about on the podcast before was like, if you're driven and you have a passion for something, it doesn't matter if you have the means to do it. You'll find some way to do it. Mm-hmm. And if you are really driven, eventually the more work you put into it, the better you'll get, and you'll get somewhere with it. Whether it's you become a multimillionaire, like touring the world or whatever, if you're a musician, or say you're a painter and you're trying to sell paintings for $500,000 or some shit to some rich people.
It doesn't happen right away.
It doesn't happen right away. It takes a lot of work, and to me also the thing is too, like especially when it comes to success, it's like success, I feel, shouldn't just be defined by the money you make, but rather just, are you feeling fulfilled?
Yeah.
And are you happy doing it? And if you are, then I think that's success.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think we're starting to get running out of the comments here, but got some more. Relief of pain. I couldn't stop smiling from excitement through this whole thing. Dystopia means so much to me. What an absolute legend. Thank you so much for creating this. Thank you. Really appreciate that. And then, actually, I think that might be it for comments. I'm looking through again just to make sure. But yeah, I think that's...
Well, I'm going to do the same thing that these people have done. I'm going to thank Dino Sommese for being who he is. He's like a spicy meatball. It's like, you might not be used to spicy meatballs, and it might be something that it takes a little while for you to get used to it and realize that it's full of all this flavor. And, that's Dino to me. He's a spicy meatball. He's something you have to take your ego out of the equation and because what he is and why he's so influential on people is, one, he's very positive when it comes to someone asking him or talking to him about their fucked up lives, or I want to be in a band and I don't know how, and da 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 da. Dino always tends to give you the raw and uncut answer that you're looking for.
Yeah, no nonsense.
Which is really rare in this world where everyone parses their words, and everyone's really worried about hurting someone's feelings. And that was the thing that I always found super refreshing about our friendship, is he would call it straight up how he saw it. And more often than not, he was right on with it. If you want to do something, don't just talk about it, do it. Make a plan and then stick to the plan. Find your passion. And so again, he was super influential on me, and I always again thank the stars above that I had the opportunity to grow up with him. I'm going to finish off a little bit of this tattoo, but that was it for today. We just wanted to give a shout out to all the people that have been commenting.
Yeah, even if we didn't get to your comments necessarily, we do read them, and I've made sure to respond to almost everybody on that comment thread. It just got to a point eventually where I couldn't, because there were so many comments coming in.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get to everybody, but I do read all of them, and I try to make sure. In fact, I encourage you guys, if you even have ideas for, say, people you want us to interview, go ahead, if you have any suggestions for the podcast or things that you might want to hear us talk about, leave suggestions down below, or if you just make a very good comment, we'll make sure to mention you guys on the podcast. Because again, without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this, really.
Yeah.
The reason we're doing this is so we can have our audience, and without our audience, we don't have anything. So, but yeah, we really appreciate all that.
And we definitely want to inspire everyone that's listening.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why we're doing this.
Absolutely.
And we are back. That was a fun little excursion. It wasn't our normal thing, but it was so humbling to see all the messages.
Yeah.
And we were just before this, I was like, I'm like, I know Todd from Dystopia had moved to Milwaukee at some point. So I'm like, I wonder if he's back in Los Angeles, because I hope he is. Because really, I'd like to do similar interviews, telling their stories, how they got where they're from, how they got interested in music, how they got into the bands, how everything happened for them individually.
Yeah.
So I'd like to eventually tattoo. I'd like to eventually get an interview with Mouse, and then eventually, if he's in LA, I'd love to get an interview with Todd as well, so we can have the trifecta of the guys from Dystopia kind of give the background on their lives and what their story was. But yeah, I really had fun with that one. It was very different, tattooing and doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
And actually, I have a longtime friend who's up in Seattle, Missy Barons, and I'm trying to lock her down because she's incredibly creative woman. And she asked me, "Hey, have you ever done an interview while you're tattooing someone?" And so I was like, "Well, I'm gonna tattoo my son Ozzy, and we're gonna do a little podcast, record it, whatever." And I was like, "What? Do you want to get tattooed by me while you do an interview with me?" And she's like, "Heck yeah!" So that's probably coming up sometime soon. But we definitely have some things going on in the pipe.
Yeah.
Some more interviews and some interesting stuff. Anything you're looking forward to in our coming up episodes?
Golly, no. I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to the future interviews and stuff like that, and to be able to get people on the podcast in the same space would be cool too. Like, to be able to have a third mic kind of situation.
Yeah.
To have it more, comfortable and sit back, kind of laid back.
Yeah, I mean, I really would like to
Situation.
get. I'm gonna see about renting a podcasting
Studio. Yeah. We've
for
been
this
talking
coming
talking about doing that. So
Yeah,
so
and
that's something to do.
So yeah, I'd like to see about doing that this coming episode, which would be episode 17, and see if we can actually get a third person in there. And
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be
do it
really
up.
really cool. In fact, to be able to do that again, like it would be cool, just because it would remind me of when I was doing the other podcast I was doing back in the day.
Zombie.
Zombie Skeleton Knife Fight, or whatever
Yeah.
stupid name I came up
I
with.
liked it.
But yeah, like to kind of go back to doing stuff like that again, to have someone else to bounce off of, and especially in terms of this podcast, what's the tagline again?
Real conversations with real artists.
Yeah, exactly.
Is our tagline.
Yeah, so it's like, like I think to be able to just sit down, because I think that's the direction we need. Well, not think, that is the direction we should be going, because clearly that's why people responded so positively to that video. It's because you sat down with Dino and had a real conversation with them.
Well, actually, it was interesting too, because we started this last year, 2021, and the first couple was just kind of like to get our feet wet, and get into it, and then we had some interesting conversations as at the end of the year, and it kind of went like, well, how do we, what do people want? What, we're giving them stuff, but what do they really want? And we really had to kind of be strategic about what we were thinking about doing for our future. And then as we sat and had meetings about it and talked about it, we were like, let's get some interviews done. Let's get some guests on here, because I think, we're labeled an educational, channel or podcast. And I think anyone that's interested in being creative and the creative process, they get the most out of actually hearing the stories of a person's their path and their journey to become a creative. And again, the interview with Dino it really showed that, that's what the people were looking for. So what we did was we took our own advice, and we asked ourselves some deep questions about what we need to do to really start making a dent as far as people paying attention and giving it a listen. So,
well, and I think also one of the appeals of a podcast is to be able to involve people in it, and to, which that's just a cool thing. That's why I like with this episode, I wanted to highlight the comments that we got from our commenters, because without those people like engaging with us, it's like we don't really have an audience. And that's kind of one of the things we wanted to get out of, is to not have an audience, but to have an audience we can engage with. So that's really cool. And even though like most of the comments were kind of generally in the same kind of ballpark, just of what they were talking about, ultimately, like the thing that stood out to me and that thing I really enjoyed was reading the comments that were like, thank you at the end of it, like thanking us. You know, and it's like, because as long as we're able to provide something that you guys want to see and listen to and all that stuff, and, you know, we continue to please you guys, then that's kind of the direction we should go to.
Yeah.
So,
Indeed. And with that, I know today's episode wasn't incredibly long or anything, but it was a fun one. And we look forward to the one coming up, episode 17. But with that, we're going to get out of here. I know I got to get to work. You got the day off, lucky guy. And that's it. Thanks for listening to the Crooke and Candle podcast, and we will see you again next week.
yeah, take it easy, guys.
We're out.